Hello everybody, Realm Builder Guy here, and welcome to my Stronghold Warlords first look review. If you're new to the channel, I do these occasionally here on the channel where we're all dedicated to strategy and history games and some RPG stuff as well. If you're new to the channel and you like this, don't forget to check out some of the other stuff here on the channel as well. And subscribe if you're enjoying it and so inclined. So Firefly Studios was kind enough to send me a free copy of the game, or a link. You know how it works these days, Steam, etc. And but it is not a sponsored video, so obviously my opinions will not be altered by the fact that I got to play this game for free. But get that out of the way. Now, for those of you not familiar with Stronghold, Stronghold's actually been around for 20 years. Back in 2001, the original Stronghold launched, and I remember playing the heck out of that game and loving it. I mean, it was that in Europa Universalis. Those were kind of my go-to games at the time, as well as like SimCity and Civ. I don't remember which version of Civ, but Stronghold was right up there. And Stronghold was a real-time strategy game where you are building your castle and you move through different missions. It was funny, it had funny voice acting, a little bit of comedy there, but it was just a lot of fun. Well, I really haven't thought about Stronghold in a very long time until I saw a trailer for Stronghold Warlords. And this is the newest version in the Stronghold series. And as you can obviously tell by the music and by the image, this deals with Stronghold in Asia and Asian culture and Asian history. And it's really, really interesting. It's very well made. I'll say that right out of the bat. Overall, I'm pleased with the hours I've put into it, and I have put in a few hours, not hundreds of hours, but a few hours to kind of get some of the basics down and some of the basic gameplay and give you my first look impressions and feedback. A lot of it's going to be good, but there will be some negatives here as well. So what is Stronghold Warlords? Well, it's an RTS game, as Stronghold has always been, but with Warlords, this alludes to the fact that it's actually a little bit more than that. It actually has grand strategy elements to it, and I'll get into that. Now, when I say grand strategy, I'm not talking, Imperator Rome, Crusader Kings 3, that type of grand strategy. It's grand strategy light. It's a very basic grand strategy system, but it does add some additional mechanics to the game that make you have to think about other strategies and how you go about it. You can defeat warlords in the game, both militarily and diplomatically. So that's a nice little addition. So we have a few different options. Now you've got single player, multiplayer. I have not tested multiplayer, so I'm not going to go into that. But I will go into single player, and you have campaigns, tutorial, custom skirmish you can create, community maps you can bring in, and free build. Now I'm going to talk about the campaigns and the free build. The tutorial is great. It's very basic. It gives you some basic information on the controls. What's great about this game is it's easy to quickly understand the controls and the overall mechanics, but it's not super easy to master it, and I'm still far away from that. But the learning curve is not as steep as some other true grand strategy games, or even games like Total War, where there's grand strategy and some RTS battles in there. So it's not as extreme, but there is still a little bit of learning curve, and the tutorial actually does a good job in showing you some of that. After that, it's really up to you. And then when you've done the tutorial, what I would recommend is going into campaigns. And here in campaigns, as you can see, I've already played a few. You advance through the different campaigns. There are 4 military and 1 economic campaign. And as you go through each one, you unlock the next level. And it's a lot of fun. It's actually a great way to learn to understand the game and know how it functions. And, well, I will show you that here in a second.
Through generations of rule over the Van Lang Kingdom, the Hung kings have overseen many improvements in technology and industry, with reliable irrigation methods securing rice as a staple crop to support a thriving population. But their dynasty is also marked by ongoing campaigns of war, which have suppressed the villages and towns of this land. Eager to continue expansion, the Hung King turns his gaze to the tribes in the north, and his armies march to the frontiers.
So that's kind of, it gives you a little bit of a briefing of it. Here you get some basic information. I'm kind of talking over. You can also do easy, difficult, or normal difficulty, or very hard. And in the background, you can kind of hear the voice giving you a bit of a briefing. You have different hints. You can unveil, that's the word I'm looking for, and show you different things you can do. And here are the basics of what you need to do: survive, build, and conquer. Let me just click on Start Mission, and we can take a quick look at some of the basics of the game.
A message from Thukfan.
To me, my warriors! We will win this day!
All right, so I'm going to hit pause real quick. Pause is with P. The controls here are pretty basic, but you can see there's little missions you have to accomplish here in each campaign, little objectives, and it'll tell you here. Basic control is W, A, S, D, and then Q and E for turning the map, or you can hold the middle mouse button and rotate or edge scroll. But let's face it, if you're edge scrolling, you're doing it wrong. I'm kidding, of course. You can do, if you want to edge scroll, go for it. No judgment here. Edge scrolling's perfectly fine. What you have is you have your basics in this game. The basics, of course, you need food. So in this, it'll tell you. You go into your granaries. It gives you how much food you have. This is your stockpile. Well, it shows you what all the resources you have, which some of them also get shown here. This is your army barracks where you can recruit your troops. And here, this is your main holding, your keep. From here, you've got the buildings menu, and you can build different things, like you can build a wood camp. So if we click on the wood camp, well, you'd have to unpause it, but you click on the wood camp and put it right there.
Numbers are strong.
And then you can right-click once you unpause it, and it's all good. I mean, it is RTS, so there's not much you can do when you pause. You can just kind of get a basic overview of the situation you have. Now, you've got wood camps. You have to put that next to a forest. This gives you the wood for which you need to build things. Then you can build rice fields because people need food. Then you can build housing, town buildings, and so on. I'll show you that here in a second in a different mission where I've advanced. Military buildings, castle walls, castle defenses like barricades, these things right here. And then you have your troops as well as fear factor, whatever the heck that is. Over here on the right-hand side in the ledger, this is your happiness. Green means happy. Then these are the number of peasants available to work. And this right here is the popularity. So the higher number here, the more people show up. You have your taxation. Lower taxes means people like you more people come. These are your rice rations. You double those up, and more people will come. Then here you have your vegetable rations, meat rations, tea rations, and clothing. All of that is dependent on what you build in the game. Then here you just have your basic open your menu, and then a few other map options as well. Now, controlling your troops, let me just unpause this game. You can see up here, as you can see, you always have that voice in the background that tells you what's going on. Graphically, it's not bad. It's a fun little game. A little tip here, if you can get any of your ranged weapons up top, that gives them an advantage. And this is basically, they keep on coming from here. You got your first objective done. Now you have to recruit your 10 spear tribesmen and 10 blowpipe tribesmen, and so on and so forth. Now let me, after you go through this basic first mission, which you'll get through this pretty quickly. There are a few, does get harder as you advance. So let me show you one that's another few levels advanced past this one. So here is the third mission, I believe it is. And you can already see there's a lot more going on here. There's a castle wall that you have to build. There are people attacking you here. Here are your soldiers. Then we've got vegetable fields. We have housing for people. You need to build houses. If we go, first of all, industry buildings. You can build a stone quarry. Stone, of course, needed for castle walls. Here's where you can put your quarry. Then you need to put a buffalo tether next to it so it can transport it. Wood camps needed. You can put in your vegetable fields as well as your rice fields. Housing, better quality housing attracts more people. Then you can bring in embassies and consulates, which will add diplomacy points, and I'll show you diplomacy points in a second. Military buildings, you can already have barracks. You can put in an armory over here, which stores your weapons. Or you can add an axe workshop and a fletcher's workshop to build bows and axes. Then you have different castle walls you can build, castle defenses. Fear factor, we don't have that in. I'll show you that in a different mode, all the different things you can build. And you're basically advancing from campaign to campaign. And each mission within a campaign gives you everything you need and nothing that you don't need. So it doesn't have all the buildings unlocked here, as you can see, because you don't need them to complete this mission. And up here, again, these are the different objectives you need to have. You lose if your warlord dies. Now, I had mentioned warlords, and there are warlords in the game. If we look over here, this is a captured warlord. This one here is an uncaptured warlord. You can see it's white. So to capture a warlord, first you have to kill all their soldiers, and then you whittle him down. You see a little, let me scroll in here a little bit. There, graphics are pretty good. You can see the little blue energy bar or power bar here. If that goes down to 0, he takes a knee, and then you place your soldiers standing next to him. It's basically like a capture point in Total War. Stand next to it long enough, and then he surrenders to you. When he surrenders to you, let's go over here to the Warlords map. You can see he is now in your faction color. And then you can do different things. You can upgrade the Warlord, request shipments of wood or stone. In some other cases, you can ask for money. And you can use these diplomacy points that you win and gain during a campaign to ask him to do things or force the Warlord to do things. Of course, a Warlord can be captured again by the opposition, by your enemy. And your enemy over here, I'm going to scroll out. You can see here we have the Hoon. To defeat the Hoon, you have to, well, first of all, survive, go through each of these warlords to get there. Then you have to take down their castle walls, kill all the troops, and then make their lord surrender. They keep on coming, and this is one thing that I had already mentioned. In this game, the basic mechanics are easy to grasp. They really are. It's not that hard to understand. Okay, I need to plant rice and vegetables and put in some housing and get wood and stone and so on to build what I need to make people then happy and manage that. But to master the mechanics is trickier. So it's not an easy game. It's easy to understand, but it's not easy to win, especially if you bump up the difficulty setting. And in this mission already, you're constantly getting attacked. So every time you build a little bit something, you get attacked again. Let me show you a little bit of combat here. Just for the sake of funsies, we'll take these guys and head on over here.
The enemy has broken through our castle walls.
And scroll over. And you can kind of see, oh, they're in. See, they're in the castle now. And now our soldiers are going to go in there and they're going to try destroy the buildings. Remind me to not save this game. But you can kind of see the combat here as these basic tribesmen are being destroyed by our axemen. But you can see already here some negative modifiers because we don't have enough food. Hit pause again. So it just gives you a general overview of how things go. It's graphically very pleasing. It's very smooth. You don't need a very powerful machine to run this game, and you can get hours of enjoyment out of it. So, that's the basics of the game in itself. The pros so far in the campaign settings, and I'm going to talk about campaign right this second. It's a lot of fun. It really is. It's pleasing to the eye. The voice acting's pretty good. It's very straightforward, and you can easily lose yourself in this game. I did myself because you start playing and you lose track of time, and all of a sudden you're like, oh wow, I've been playing for 3 hours or 2 hours or an hour or whatever, or all night long, and you don't even notice it because you're just having fun. And that's, for me, that's when I know a game is good. If I have that experience of I totally lose track of time, I'm into the game, and then I go, oh shoot, I should probably go to bed. That's, for me, a clear indicator it's a good game for my taste. It's very chill, so you can do this. It's very relaxing. You're not going to get stressed by a billion pop-up menus and trying to keep track of vassals or anything like that. It's a lot easier that way. Like I said, it's easy to grasp. The time period itself, which is more, you know, ancient Asia to Middle Ages Asia is a lot of fun as well, and you bring in classic historical characters into the game, as well as a plethora of warlords that do add a lot of flavor to the game. And the learning curve of this game and the challenge is scaled nicely. So I feel like I'm not thrown into the deep end right away. It's not super challenging the first couple of missions, but enough of a challenge that you do grasp the game. But once you hit now this third mission, it gets a lot harder. So it's not that super easy. I also really like this mini grand strategy element. It just gives extra flavor. You're not just building a keep, you're also playing a little bit of politics. So it kind of gives you a little bit of direction. This game does handhold a little bit as far as what should you do, what should you not do, but that's good when you're learning it. You're not overwhelmed at any point in time. Then the negatives. There are some things about this game that I'm not thrilled with. I'll just pause it again before the guy pops up and talks. First of all, I don't have any negatives in the gameplay itself. The gameplay is smooth, it looks great, it's fun, and it's intuitive. I have issues with the UI, and let me tell you why. It's not always intuitive as far as if you want to build something. Now, you can go press K for keep, but then you have to close it, and then you're in your buildings menu and what you can build. Military is even worse, if I'm honest. There's no military tab. Nothing here. As you can see, nothing here where you just click, boom, there's my military and all my units. No. What you have to do is you click on one, and then you double left click, and all types of that type of unit, like these are blowpipe tribesmen, are shown now. What you can do is you can do Control 1, and now they are in a control group. The problem is every time you recruit a new member, you have to do that selection process over again. They're not automatically added to the control group. The alternative is you left drag mouse click, and then you have all of your units, but you may be missing some. Then you click on each individual one, but there's no back button. You can't go back to the previous one. So for me, that's a bit of a negative. It's annoying. It annoyed me during the gameplay. If I'm perfectly honest, I was not a fan of that. But what I do like about the military is you have different stances. You can do a stand your ground stance, which is a defensive stance, and then an aggressive attacking stance. You can do no formation, a box formation, or line formation. And then you can patrol between 2 points of the map that you select. You can attack here to signify something, or you can stop and cancel all commands. So there's some basic rudimentary stuff around the units, but the unit selection process isn't great. I do like the fact that you have control groups. So control 1, 2, 3, however many you have, you can select it, put them all together and move them around. There is strategy in where you place your troops. As you can see, I have my ranged units here on the top of the wall. So if we get attacked, they can hit them from a higher vantage point, which always helps. But those are some of the negatives that I'm hoping Firefly Studios will address. All you really need, if we're honest, if I go back to the keep here, is just here on the side, a little tab that shows buildings or construction. That's the word I'm looking for. Construction tab and a military tab. Right here, you click on that, boom, you have all of this show up, or click on military, boom, you have all of your units show up as defined by their individual unit cards. And then you can quickly select them. So those would be my suggestions for little things that you need to change. Now the next thing I want to show you is free build. Free build's actually a lot of fun. Free build, we click on that here. You can just build your perfect castle. You can choose between a jungle clearing, open steppe, or Serenity Island. Let's go with an open steppe and hit play. But here you have your keep, and then you can just build. You see here, you've got your stockpile. That's the first thing you need to build. Then your food buildings, housing, town buildings, military walls, castle defense, and so on. So if we unpause it, first thing you need to do is place your stockpile. Then you need to put in your granary. And now everything is wide open. Now that has unlocked all the different options you have as far as things you can build. And you've got a pretty big map you can search. Now you can click on the map to look at different resources. You know, if you need a stone quarry or somewhere where you're going to extract iron ore for certain things, or where do you have forests for wood. So you can just click on this mini map here on the left and it'll show you where everything is. It's a ton of fun. It's creative. You need to be planning. You can build roads. Everything is unlocked, but you have money, 1,000 gold, and you have to build that income because people need to be attracted to your town and your castle and build bit by bit. It's a lot of fun. It's very relaxing. I've spent a few hours in this, scrapping a few builds and starting a few builds. The downside right now is you don't have a lot of maps to choose from, but they're the options for community maps, so I guarantee you there's going to be a lot of stuff coming. So that is free build, and I'm a fan of this. It's a fun, creative thing to do. If you like City Skylines, it's not exactly City Skylines, okay, obviously, but it reminds me a bit of it because you're just building and resource managing and population managing. So it's a lot of fun. So there you have my quick first look review of Stronghold Warlords. I recommend it. I like it. I really enjoyed it. Yes, there are a few little things in the UI that they need to improve, and I hope they will improve those with player feedback. This game is available as of the 9th of March, and you can get it on Steam, or you can buy it through my Nexus GG store link. The link is down in the description. Let me know your thoughts if you've played Stronghold games in the past. If you really enjoyed them, if this is your first look at any Stronghold game, let me know your thoughts if this is something you may be enjoying. And if you're watching this after the game releases, let me know if you bought it and what your thoughts were. So, until next time, I'm Realm Builder Guy, and I will talk to you soon.